Look at this. Oh, hey, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with my first sewing tutorial. That's so Wilma. I know, I'm not cute. All right, so before we get started, you can't sew without a little inspiration. Hoy, hey, drink me. Ooh, what is this? It looks like horse pee. It's herbal iced tea. Oh, how healthy of you. And herbal iced tea with vodka. Because if you have vodka, yeah, you have a party. That's all right. Ooh, healthy, delicious, no sugar, and boozy. All of my favorite things. Okay, so here it is. Wilma's first sewing tutorial. And you can't start anywhere if you don't start at the beginning. So let's just start with one of my favorite topics, sewing machines. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people have often stood by Singer and Brother as brands, and I'm going to tell you they're fabulous brands. They're really, really good. But one of the things that happened in the 80s and 90s is that Singer and Brother became huge demand. So the companies started making cheaper versions. So you can go to Walmart and get a Singer sewing machine for $200. But it's as light as a feather, and it really, and no offense to Singer, it's not going to get you through the hard times. Do you know what I'm saying? So if Brother and Singer have kind of glutted the market with their own product, where do you go? Well, in Canada, the best sewing machines used to be, and still are in my opinion, Kenmore. Sears made them. They had a fantastic warranty. You could get them fixed anywhere. They came in a variety of styles. But a few years ago, as we all know with Sears clothing, Kenmore stopped making sewing machines. Who's making them now? Janome, which ironically enough is my favorite brand of sewing machine. Here's the Janome here. Now, I'm just going to tell you, you need a few things when you're looking for a sewing machine, and the most important thing is heft. You want a heavy machine. You want it to be, you want to kind of, when you pick it up. Do you know what I'm saying? If you look at it and you pick it up and it's heavier than you thought it was, buy that machine. Why? Because it means the insides are metal. A lot of machines on the inside now are composites, plastic in some cases, and they're fine if all you're sewing is curtains for the bathroom. But if you're gonna like make some jeans or something fabulous to wear, you need to have a little more power behind you. And the only way you're gonna get that is with metal parts, because not that the power in a plastic parts machine is weak, but the pieces tend to break and they're hard to replace. In fact, ironically enough, the thing that breaks the most in some sewing machines is the one thing you can't just buy replacement pieces for online. So I say Janome. If you're going to buy new out of the box, go with Janome. You can still get Kenmore. Kenmore is made by Janome, so you can rely on them still. It's still a good brand name. It's not like Kenmore's being made by Larry. Now, a sewing machine should cost you $300 or $400. I'm just going to say to you, if you're spending less than that, then you're going to get a little less of a machine. So this machine here, I bought secondhand from a repair place. Now, even at a repair place, they will tell you to buy a new machine out of the gate. I think it's because they get a commission off of that. But I prefer to go with an older machine because they're going to be the ones that are a little heavy. The reason I go with a refurbished machine is they're often older, which means no electronics up front. And I don't think you need any of these electronics. Unless you're embroidering drindle skirts for your folklore dance club or something, you don't need electronic stitches. You need 4 stitches on a machine. You need just straight stitch. You also want a zigzag machine, one that just goes left and right. Those are things that you can use for buttonholing. Sometimes they're good for sewing applique, stuff like that. Another stitch is not a huge one to use, but I love it. It's the Marcel stitch. Now, this is the zigzag machine stitch that walks. Do you know what I mean? Like if there's a stitch in between, it doesn't just go from point to point. It goes point, point. That's called a Marcel. It's like the Marcel wave in O'Hare style. And what that is excellent for is sewing in elastic. The last stitch that you absolutely would love to have on a machine, it's the reason I will buy a machine, is for a stretch stitch. This is also sometimes known as a knit stitch. And what this is for knits, things that stretch, so that when they stretch a little, the machine stitches don't pop all over the place. Those are the 4 you need. Anything beyond that is icing your cake. And let's face it, icing just makes your fingers sticky. Now, I can hear some of you out there. Auntie Wilma, what about those fabulous garage sale finds? Well, let me tell you, it's very, very important to follow the first things I was telling you when looking at a garage sale sewing machine. You want to make sure it's a heavy one. Also look at it. Does it look like it's missing anything? Most sewing machines are called free arm. That means that this part of it comes away, and you could probably get a sleeve, so you could sew a cuff on a sleeve right away. Something, it leaves that arm a little free for you to get fabric around it. You want to make sure that that's still attached to it. This part of it, the base of it, often is also the sewing kit. It stores things. Now, you don't need everything, but one thing that's great in one of these is a little screwdriver, because everybody, little screws, hard to find, not popular, but when you get the right one, ooh, I'm just saying. You also want zipper feet, even if you don't want to sew a zipper. These are really great, especially the kind that you can move around. There are a lot of attachments for a machine, so if you don't have them all in here, that's okay. Also, your bobbins. Sometimes some machines are good with plastic bobbins. I don't like a plastic bobbin. I think the reason for plastic bobbins was so you could see how fast the bobbin was unwinding. I prefer the metal ones. There's a plastic one right there. I don't ever use it. I don't know why that's there. Sometimes I put it up on top for the sewing stuff. But that's all you need. You want to make sure that this is definitely on there. You also want to make sure that everything works. If they don't let you plug the thing in, don't buy it. If they won't let you plug what they're selling at their garage sale into something, I highly suggest you not buy it. But I am now going to introduce you to the exception of all the rules. Okay, so the other day, children of the corn, I was out, just going for a coffee in my local cafe, and as I was walking up to the door, something called to me. Somebody said, Wilma, Wilma. So I turned and walked around the store. In the area that I live, there's a lovely floral shop, and sometimes they have better than a garage sale happening outside. And what I mean by better than a garage sale, not crap. They usually sell some nice things. And for some reason, there they were out. They're not out every day, it's not a regular thing. And I'm standing there looking at the objet, and this little number caught my eye. Now, here's the thing. Often when you buy sewing machines at garage sales, be prepared that they need repairing. There's a reason they're selling them. Keep this in mind. Whoever used them possibly could have died. Bless. But that means no one there knows what to do with it. It's a heavy thing. They all tried picking it up. Oof, they didn't like that. So they're just going to sell it on. So the first thing I do is I look at the name. This is a Kenmore. As you can see, free arm, which means that the little thing comes off. So there's things to watch for. The first thing I did when I saw this machine was I picked it up because I wanted to know, frig. This is heavier than this one. Slightly a little bigger too. If you look at them from profile side, this one's bigger. It looks like it's got a wider base, which means maybe a little more power. I don't know. This one, my Janome, although very, very, very heavy, not as heavy as this Kenmore. I'm very impressed. Now, here's the thing. The things you want to look for at a garage sale, you want to make sure, if they have the original packaging, then this could mean they didn't use this machine very much. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody got it with good intention, got halfway through a curtain for the kitchen and killed a man. I don't know. The other thing you want to make sure of is that they have all the pieces, i.e. this cord is very important. If you do not have the power cord, this plugs in on one side here, and then directly into the power, and then there's your power. Now, I want to tell you all, this is very exciting. I haven't plugged this machine in yet. I bought this actually 2 weeks ago now. I've been itching to do this tutorial. I've been so busy. So here we go. Now, as you can see, there were some other things. It had the original instructions, the owner manual in English, and then in French still in the package. So this was sold in Ontario. There was also in here, did I see it? Yes. This is very, very important because small things go missing on machines or in things. This is a practical stitch chart for this actual machine. It shows you every stitch that you need to know and how to do it. It teaches you how to thread it, how to put it together, how to get everything going, and these things often go. They're the first to go. So there's all the things I needed. Those things there. Instructions are very great. Often they're not there. The fact that I have two there, already this is a better machine than the one I own. I'm just saying. This is the free arm right here. It comes right out. Yeah, there we go. So that you can get a sleeve around there. As you can see, it's just loose. Now, in here, I have looked at all this stuff, so I know what's going on. In here, this is great because they had a seam ripper, a couple of seam rippers. Clearly, they made a lot of mistakes. This is the needle that they have. Now, the nice thing with something like this is, if they don't use Kenmore, this will use a Janome needle. So I have tons of Janome needles. But when you have an original needle pack for the machine, this is what you want when you're going to buy new needles for your machine. Because oftentimes, the last time this machine was used, there was different packaging. And quite frankly, I've never seen Kenmore needles, and I'm Canadian. I just say, so if I take that with me, it just helps a salesperson help me get the best needles for what I want. There's a little brushy poo to get all the goo out. And look at this one. This one has two. Count them. Two little screwdrivers. So important to get in there. Look at this. There's a buttonhole foot, a regular foot, a needle, a zipper foot, and tons of bobbins. So this is all right. This is good. We like this, and you can just put that back in there. Now, the one thing I don't like about this machine is this. This is where the bobbin goes in. It's a little plastic thing. I worry about this going, because I've worked with machines where that just gone, disappeared. The bobbin's in there, and I only can imagine that somebody thought to put the bobbin in here because you could see the bobbin running out of thread, maybe. I don't know. So up till now, other than this, and this is not a deal breaker, I'm just saying, this is a pretty good, it's all good. Now, this machine also had a $40 tag. And I was talking to the guy, and this is the thing, as I started to talk to him about this machine and realized that this machine, because I wasn't going to buy it, all I did was, at the time I took a picture, I thought, oh, I'm doing a tutorial on machines, I will reference this. But I thought, oh, so I said to him, would you take 30 for it? I don't normally haggle. I'm not a haggler. If somebody asks for that much, I go, okay. I don't know why, it's just not a big haggler, but I did that, and he said, you know what, okay. So I got this for $30, not $40. And then I got it home. And as I was going through everything, I found, and this is something, if you find this in the machine, in the box, in the original packaging, gold, buy that machine. This is the original sales slip from Sears. It's fantastic. Now, they bought this machine in 1990, and they paid $347.99. $400 for this machine in 1990. I'm just saying, it's now 2019. That's an old machine. This is top of the line price at the time. And the fact that I have that, I just makes this machine just a little more valuable. So, let's cover it. It has all its accessoires. It has original packaging. It has original instructions. And an original bill of sale, which always makes things exciting. So, what do you do next? Well, you remember that little brushy poo? These are the little things that we need to go through the whole machine. And you want to just start dusting out some stuff, like where the bobbin goes. You want to take the bobbin out and just dust. Because, again, you don't know when the last time that something like this has been used. And the other thing is, there's not a lot of space in the machine for you to go in to clean. There's really only this place where the bobbin housing is. So that's the one. The next thing that you want to do is, machines often come with a little oil ampule, something for you to put the oil into the machine. And if you don't have that, you need to buy oil for the machine. You can't just get any oil. No, you don't. You want to get 3-in-1 machine oil. Now, the reason this is the best to use, it's very, very light. If you put this into the machine, it's only going to really oil the parts that are moving. If it gets onto your clothing at all, you can wash it away. It's not a problem at all, I'm just saying. And you need to put oil in the machine or it won't work. And all you do, there's just these holes here like this, and you just put them in, just a few drops like that. And as you can see, there's drippy poos. There's always drippy poos. That's what life's all about, drippy poos. So just wipe that away. I like to use something that just gets it all up. And then we plug it in and see if it works. I'm so excited because, as I said, this is a test. Now, what happens if it doesn't work, you ask? Well, now here's the thing. Hopefully, you already have a sewing machine. You've probably had it repaired and or the timing reset on it once or twice in the history of you. And if that's the case, then you have a good repair place. If this machine doesn't work, all you do is take it to your repair place and say, I'd like it tuned. Don't tell them it doesn't work. They might charge you more. Just say, this is an old machine, I need it tuned. I need it, the timing reset and just maybe the whole thing oiled. And they'll do it for you. And if it doesn't work, they'll tell you, and they'll tell you why. They might say, oh, well, there's that piece missing, or something's broken, or it needs rewiring, or it died and we can't do anything. They'll tell you. But either way, that's the best thing to do. Now, one of the other things I want to point out with this machine is that it has the stretch stitch that I wanted. And this is very important. As I said, you always want a stretch stitch. Like on here, it just says stretch stitch. So you're good. All right, let me get organized here. This is another thing. I love a long cord on a machine. Sometimes they don't have long cords. And, sometimes you're not always right next to an outlet. Sometimes you can't be next to an outlet. Sometimes an outlet. Sometimes the sewing machine is there. Sometimes you have no friends. I'm just saying. All right, so this is already good sign. Here's the switch for it. The light works. And I have to say, I like this light. This is a nice light. Sometimes the lights are a little, they're too yellow, I don't know. But I like to have a light that I can see well with. It's not glaring, not too bright. Also, sometimes the lights aren't in the right spot. Sometimes you got to open up the casing and kind of jiggle the light around, move it to. It's very simple to do because it's not the most important part of the machine. So they spend the less time with it. So it's easy to finagle. All right, so here we go. I'm even going to test the stretch stitch right out of the gate. Sounds good. It's a good sound. Nothing's grinding. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not hating this machine. I'm very happy. There's a $30 machine. Now, had it not worked, I would have definitely have taken it in to my guys on Queen Street. Where do you go, you say, to take a machine? The best place to take a machine, to get a machine, to look at machines, is where people sew. And the best place for that is in any schmata district where you live. Now, whether you're in New York and the schmata district is most of Manhattan, or you live in Milwaukee and you've never heard of such a thing, there is some little area in town, even if it's a corner of the mall, where needle art is done, whether it's maybe that corner at Michael's and they have a really good sewing section because there's no sewing section in town at all. That's a good place. You should always have somebody in your Rolodex that can repair a machine if you sew. It's absolutely important. So if you have someone reliable, good price, they're often able to help you out with the machine, take it to them. I bought this for $30. If I needed this to be fixed in any way, at the worst end of it, it would cost another $130. You saw the original price of sale, $400. $350 anyway. Let's just say $350. So for $150, saving $200. That's a couple of outfits worth of fabric you can buy. I'm just saying. Either way, whether you buy new and keep all of the unexpected swerves and curves that can happen when you're sewing to a minimum, do it. If you're on a budget, this is the way to go. Look at my new machine for $30. Now, again, I'm just recapping. Make it heavy. Don't make it too elaborate. And make sure it's got all its accoutrement. Once you've done that, if it doesn't have a straight stitch, a stretch stitch, you'll still be able to make brilliant outfits. There you go. I hope that helped. I hope that helped you when you go looking for a machine. I know a lot of people get really dazzled by all the newfangled things that are out there, computer on board. Keep this in mind. You want your sewing machine just to sew. If a sewing machine does other things, like some sewing machines have a serger on the back, but they use the same motor. If that motor dies, neither side works. Better to have one and another. As you can see, I have more than one sewing machine just in case, because you only need that. You don't need to be 4 in the morning with a deadline and a sewing machine to die once before you start having backups available to you. But that said, you also don't need a lot of electronics, because the minute your machine has any kind of computer stuff, because you can certainly get a computerized machine that'll do a straight stitch, among other things. It could very well have metal workings on the inside, be very heavy. But when you have an electronic keyboard, an electronic panel, now you need somebody that knows how to deal with its programming, its computer components, which means a different type of repairman. If you have a repairman that can handle that stuff, then good for you. But most of these repair shops that are in a Shmata district don't deal with stuff like that, because the people in the industry don't really deal with stuff like that, unless they're embroiderers. That's all I'm saying. So you can get yourself a really, really excellent machine for as little as $30, as I did. Lucky 30. Could have cost me $130, which is still a bargain. There you go. That's all you need to know to get started. Go out, get yourself a machine. By the time you've got one, I will be up with my first tutorial. I just don't know if I'm going to do hats or gloves. They're exciting, just saying. So, until next time, keep sewing and miss me. Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. This horse pea is delicious, I'm just saying. I mean, I'd have to look at the horse.